Hello friends, today I am going to discuss about blood and its component in brief. So, what is blood? Technically blood can be defined as it is a fluid connective tissue. Fluid because it is liquid in nature and connective tissue because it connects one part of the body to another part, as it involves the system called circulatory system. Circulatory system is the system of blood vessels, capillaries, veins, arteries, etc. And in this system the blood flows and it carries along with it nutrients as well as gases such as carbon dioxide and oxygen as well as minerals, and hence helps in transportation. So it is a medium of transportation of nutrients and minerals. An average human being contains about 5 to 6 liters of blood. And the first and foremost important property of blood is that it fights infection. So how it fights infection, that we will be describing it in the coming slides. So now let's see the components of blood. When we talk about blood, what is blood made up of? So blood has two basic components, or there are two divisions you can say blood component has. So blood is made up of formed elements that constitute 45% of the blood and the plasma that constitute 55% of the blood. Now, so here you can see a figure. In this, this is actually a centrifuge tube, and when you take some samples of blood from any individual and centrifuge it, then you will find it that the red part is settled at the lower end and the yellow part is settled at the upper end, and in between there is some frothy complex type of material is formed. Now the red part includes the red blood cells, that is the RBCs, and the yellow part includes the plasma. So these are the two main components of blood: the formed elements, which include the RBCs, the WBCs and the platelets, and the plasma, which constitute 55% of blood, is yellow in color. So in total, what blood is made up of? So you can easily get to know that blood is made up of two components, plasma plus formed elements. So it will be very easy for you to remember this. Fine. Now coming up to the part formed elements. So as I told you just now, what formed elements are made up of? Formed elements are made up of RBCs. Technically RBCs are also known as erythrocytes. Then comes the WBCs. Technically WBCs are also known as the leukocytes, and the platelets. Platelets are involved in clotting the blood. Okay. So now when we come to know about RBC first of all, shape. When we see the shape of RBC is biconcave in shape, and this RBC is the carrier of oxygen and carbon dioxide because it is having iron containing pigment, that is hemoglobin, and due to the presence of hemoglobin carries oxygen, that we call it oxygenated blood of RBC, or if it carries carbon dioxide then we call it as deoxygenated blood, and helps in this way exchange of gases takes place by the mechanism of internal respiration. So first of all, it is biconcave in shape and it helps in transport by exchange of gases as well as it exchanges nutrients. Now, as RBC has hemoglobin, abundant of hemoglobin in it, so it does not require any nucleus, so it is anucleate. RBC is not having any nucleus. But how RBCs are formed, this is a major question that we will be describing in further slides. So apart from RBCs, let's see WBCs. Now WBCs are white blood cells, and like RBCs, WBCs are not are having nucleus. So RBCs are not having nucleus, but WBCs are having nucleus. And it is present in two forms. One is granular forms and another one is a granular form. So from granular form, you can remember granular form of WBC. Why it is granular? Because it is granular because it contains granules, and agranules means it does not contain any granules. So granular forms contain certain types of granule molecules, and these produce certain type of enzymes to fight or degrade pathogens. So now in granular form, again we have three types of WBC blood cell components. These are neutrophils. These fight against infection and are the most abundant. Then the eosinophils. These gets activated during parasitic and worm infection. And the basophils. Basophils are the main cells that are that produce inflammatory response, and these basophils produce histamine. Now coming up to the agranular part. Agranular part is the cells in agranular part are basically the monocytes and the lymphocytes. Monocytes further matures and forms the macrophages, and lymphocytes are the major cells that are of two types, that produces B cells and the T cells. Now coming up to the platelets. One second. So when we talk about platelets are the major clotting factors. So RBCs and platelets are the cellular debris. Okay. So how these are formed, this we will be describing in the next slides. So now when we talk about the origin and formation of blood cells, then bone marrow is the most important site of blood cell production, because RBCs are not having any nucleus. So how they divide? But they don't divide. They are produced by hemocytoblast cells that are actually the pluripotent stem cells, and these stem cells forms the blood cells. A life of a blood cell is generally, or RBC, here I am mentioning RBC, is generally 120 days, and after 120 days the old and mature RBCs are removed, and by macrophage cells that are present in spleen and liver, they are engulfed or ruptured. So here you must remember that spleen is also called graveyard of RBCs, because here the RBC finally dies. So lifespan of RBC is 120 days, and after that it is taken up by spleen and liver, and so the spleen is called the graveyard of RBC. So this is about bone marrow. Bone marrow is the site of all the blood cells production. That is, it is the site of production of RBCs as well as the WBCs as well as the platelets. It has two lineage, that is myeloid lineage and the lymphoid lineage. Okay, here MLN I am noting this. You need, this is another chapter that is required further explanation in next presentation. So now coming up to blood clotting factor. So blood clotting. What is blood clotting? When you get a cut on your finger, then the blood vessels get ruptured, and the ruptured or the damaged area or the ruptured blood vessels, what comes out? RBCs, that is the red blood cells, and the platelets comes out. Now these platelets are, when it comes out, then these platelets produce thromboplastin, and it activates the inactive prothrombin, that is thromboplastin and calcium in the blood, that is produced from the platelet. Thromboplastin is produced from the platelet, and calcium, the blood, activates the prothrombin and gets converted into thrombin. Now when this thrombin, it gets converted into thrombin, the activation of thrombin will do what? It will form fibrin by making fibrinogen. It acts on fibrinogen, and in the presence of thrombin, fibrinogen gets converted into fibrin. These fibrin called fiber-like threads, and these fiber-like threads gets accumulated at the damaged area or the wounded area and forms a clot with the RBC, and hence blood clot formation occurs. So this is all about blood and components. So brief summary I would like to give is that you've learnt about blood, its technical definition, a fluid connective tissue, and what it is. The main function is the transport of nutrients, and average human being contains 5 to 6 liter blood, fights infection. Basically the components include the formed elements and the plasma. The formed elements constitute the RBCs, WBCs and platelets, and these platelets and these red blood cells are the source of red blood cells are the bone marrow. Bone marrows are the marrow are from where the blood cells are produced from spongy tissues. These are such as femur bone, the long bones or the flat bones are having the bone marrow, and from there the hemocytoblast cells produce, that are the stem cells, produce blood cells from the two lineages, that is myeloid lineage and the lymphoid lineage. The RBC lifespan is 120 days. When the RBC gets old and mature, it get destroyed by macrophages, which is present in spleen and liver, and finally the spleen is called the graveyard of RBCs, and so the spleen is called the graveyard of RBC. Now for about blood clotting, you get to know that when finger is cut, then blood vessels are ruptured, RBCs and platelets come out. Platelet release a factor called thromboplastin. Now the thromboplastin in the presence of calcium activates the prothrombin, and when the prothrombin gets activated, it gets converted into thrombin. On the activation of thrombin, it activates fibrinogen, and in the presence of thrombin, fibrinogen gets converted into fibrin and further forms a blood clot. That's all. Thank you.